Hello, mates.
Hello, mates.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How are you doing? How are you?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. How are you, Laura?
Fine. So you'll be listening to this on Halloween.
I hope so. Anyway,
We will be. What date is it?
today
Yeah.
it's the 4th.
Oh, I could have said it's October 3rd. Oh,
What's so special about October the 3rd?
you've never seen Mean Girls.
No, I have a life.
On October 3rd, he asked what day it was.
Okay,
It's October 3rd.
cool story, bro.
We have a guest with us today.
Woo!
You can't do that.
No, I can't do that, can I? I break things when I do that.
Yeah. If you heard our Wild Hunt episode, we talked about our friend Mozz.
Hello.
And here she is.
This is proof we actually have friends.
We actually have friends in real life, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm a real physical person here, like, you know. They didn't kidnap me or, like, you know, bring me up off the street or something, going to hear people.
We'll pay you to be here.
Incidentally, we owe you a tenner. Don't worry about it. We're good for it. We're good for it.
Okay, man, okay, I'll just get off the show like later on.
Yeah, so we asked Mozz to come on because she has amazing ghost stories and we've kind of told all of our good ones.
Well, we thought we told all of our good ones, and then we found 2 more ourselves as well.
So we'll probably jump in with them at some point, but
yeah.
Mozz is taking the lead on this one.
Yeah, this is all you.
This is all you.
Yeah, that's great, like, and I'm just like, okay, what do I talk about? But I suppose to start with, like,
Start with, like, how was your childhood? Was it spooky?
it was a pretty fucking weird one.
Oh, and if you hear anything strange in the background, we do have a peanut gallery.
It's a strange man with a beard.
Yeah.
It's not me either. The other strange man with a beard.
My better half.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Who is currently living his best life.
Drinking tea, smoking fags. Yeah. He doesn't have to talk about nothing. But yeah, back to the childhood question.
When did this turn into therapy?
A long time ago. But yeah, it like basically it was a weird kind of time in my life, I suppose. But no, like basically I grew up in Gurtagary, like I've told you this before, and like we lived on the base of a mountain called the Devil's Bit, and basically just to kind of give it a quick history, Devil was supposed to have walked through the land, and he like saw this big mountain, took a bite out of the mountain, like became the Rock of Cashel, this kind of crack. If people want to look into it, work away. But there's lots of like fairy forts, ring forts. There's a lot of like what people consider like, you know, supernatural stuff, folklore kind of stuff.
The kind of land, like if you think about like haunted Ireland.
Yeah, that's you're deep in the countryside with that, like,
yeah.
you know, you're really in there with it, like.
Scary bog witches.
Yeah.
Bog witches.
Bog witches.
Yeah, that was my Instagram name there for a little bit, the bog witch. But like, I have reasons.
And what is it now if people want to follow you?
Dova Kid. Skyrim. There you go.
We're all so cool here.
Yeah. Nerds. But yeah, like, so what I was saying about like, you know, haunted Ireland, my grandparents, like, they moved up in 1960s, whatever, and they bought the house off this couple. And the first story I'll tell you is like, basically when my grandparents bought the house, the previous owners only owned the house for like maybe 2 or 3 months, and basically what happened was the previous owners had just bought the house, and the husband died maybe a day after they like moved in, and the widow, she basically just left. She stayed there for about 2 or 3 months, didn't like the vibe in the place, and just left. She just like saw my grandfather, like, here, there's a house, work away. And that was it, like.
And no one found that suspicious.
Well, no, he did buy the house, like, but she's like, here, just go have it.
It was the 60s.
It was like 1960, like, and you have to remember, like, you know, it was kind of half built as well. I don't know, there was something about the back of the house there was no, like, I don't know, the back of the house wasn't really built either. Like, you know, they had 2 rooms and a sitting room and a kitchen.
But no one gives a fuck.
No,
like,
it was 1960s Ireland, like, you know, you're just, yeah, shed'll do. You know, that's the way it was.
That has
like.
4 walls and a roof.
Yeah.
I mean, the roof's still a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit wobbly.
It keeps the rain out.
Kinda.
You're painting a sterling picture of house quality in Ireland
man,
right
when
now.
I go on about this house, there's still a lot more to go. But basically, when they bought, as I said, my grandparents bought the house, and my father grew up in it, and he always said that there was something strange around the place. He never, even to this day, like, he's still living up there, like, and even to this day, he's kind of going like, oh, there's something in the yard, or there's something in the air, there's, you know, and like, he's not the most rational of men either, but, you know, he does seem to believe that there is something, some other presence around. But quick thing about what happened was basically, as I said, my grandparents bought the house in the 1960s, and somewhere in the 1980s, the widow died. The previous owner died, and the day she died, my grandmother had this thing about the front door not staying shut, because it was a windy day, and it was a big oak front door, and you couldn't really open it that easily. Heavy door, and the door just kept swinging open. And it was like a bolt door. Now, like, this wasn't one of your, like, Munster joinery jobs, go up and open the handle and there you go, like
the front door.
Yeah, this was like a big, you had to turn this big knob thing at the top and fucking pull the door open. This wasn't something that was going to open very easily. But she didn't know at the time that the previous owner had died, and when she found out, that she kind of like twigged it, that basically, I think it's some old thing in Ireland, basically, that it was like the owner was running through the house.
Oh no.
Yeah, this was the thing that was going on. And like, as I said, my father always said that, like, there was some, like, as I said before, there was something about, like, some presence or something in around the yard, and you know, he was just, you know, and now he believes that could have been something to do with what happened with the husband, the owner, after dying or something. He believes there's some cursing around the place, and or pishog, that's another thing that he'd call it as well, like, which
What's
is
a pishog?
Pishog is like a spell or a curse. That's like, you know, all Irish again, they'd be like big believers in all this. Like, one would be like, okay, quick recap here for a second. I know I keep bouncing back and forth, but no, the previous owners were Protestants.
Okay.
And like, this is Holy Catholic Ireland 1960s, and Protestants were very frowned upon. You know,
Still kind of
Still are.
Still iffy.
Yeah, and you know, like, we're getting better, folks. We are, you know. But no, they were Protestant, and like, I think there was someone said it before that maybe there was a pishog put on them.
Okay.
But like, it stayed with the land, it stayed with the house, it stayed with, you know, and it wasn't like, maybe like they kind of fucked up in it.
Yeah.
And they meant to put it on those people, but it ended up going on the house.
Yeah.
And it just ended up staying on the house and those who lived in the house. And so that's what, like, but it's like basically a pishog. It's like, there's different variations of what people believe. Like, some people, I think in like North Kerry, down here this direction, they believe it's a fairy. It's a bad fairy, it's a bad omen or whatever. And like in Tipperary, it's a curse, it's a spell.
Yeah.
It's someone that's after putting a curse or a spell on you.
So it means different things in different
areas. Yeah, but that's the whole thing about Irish folklore. Like, different, you know, they have different meanings for different things, and it could be all the same thing. You know, they could have the same word for 20 different things though. But yeah, so going on from, that was my grandmother's whole thing there. But going on from my childhood then, I think the weirdest one would have been, I was about 15 at the time. This was December of, I'd say, 2003, I think. Yeah, been about that time.
So that's 16.
15, 16, along there. I would have been turning 16 that January, yeah. So, yeah. And I was actually in third year in secondary school. So I was, you know, third year, junior certs. Yeah.
So like the middle of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And we had state examinations, and, you know, like, but like, the school I went to was very strict about these things, so it was like study. And as I said, it was a Friday in the middle of December. The toy show was on that same particular night.
Oh, if anyone knows anything about Ireland,
yeah, the toy show.
It's the pinnacle.
It's not Christmas until it's the toy show.
Exactly. Go on RT Player there, have a now look on YouTube, you'll see.
Ryan Tuberty.
Oh God, no.
What a man.
Who the fuck's Ryan Tuberty?
You do not want to know.
Guy that does the toy show.
I'd never seen the toy show.
You would just... Okay, never mind.
It's fine. Carry on. Everything's fine.
You're missing out on a lot, man.
Sounds like it.
But anyway, so like all of this, it was about 9:30 at night. Toy show was after starting, and my sister, she was, what, I can't even remember, she was born 96, 2003, can't do the maths, but there you go. people can do the maths themselves. She was young. She was a child. And my brother Stephen and my mum, they were all inside in the sitting room and they were waiting for the toy show to come on. My father and my brother had gone out. My other brother John, they had left the house. They were gone doing whatever the fuck they were doing. Probably hunting. That's what they usually went and done on a Friday night. So they were gone. So, Joe, I knew where everyone kind of was in around the house.
Yes.
But I went to bed early. I was wrecked tired, been up for school, and I'd been studying all day, and I was just absolutely zoned out of it. Mm-hmm. So I got into bed anyway, and I knew there was something strange. I just felt it in myself that there was like something not right about the place.
Kind of like heavy atmosphere, or just like
just a very
feeling?
Weird uneasiness. That's what
Yeah.
I'd say. Like, it wasn't even heaviness. It was just this weird uneasiness, as if there was something there, but I couldn't really, know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got into bed anyway, and I was just lying in the dark, and I was lying there for ages. I could not fall asleep. I couldn't even doze. It was just, I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm wrecked tired and I can't sleep, and tossing and turning. And then I noticed that the temperature suddenly just dropped, like really dropped, like,
Okay.
And like, I know, like, from, like, reading supernatural stuff and whatever, like, when there's something happening,
That's
something
bad news.
Yeah, and
no good thing comes from a sudden temperature drop.
yeah,
No.
but at the same time, like, this is the middle of December.
It's winter. Like,
Yeah, and you're just trying to, like,
rationalize it with yourself.
exactly, like,
Just so you can get a bit of sleep.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, like, and you're just there, like, trying to go down the logical route. And I was, as I said, I was tossing and turning, but I did notice a sudden temperature drop, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? It's maybe a draft in the window or something. But I actually turned onto my left side, so my right side was facing out up, right?
Yeah.
And the blanket, the duvet, just kind of pulled up to my face here, like up to my cheek, but my ear was still exposed.
Yeah.
And as I said, I couldn't sleep, whatever, but all of a sudden, all I could hear was just this straight down into my ear.
Oh.
And I was absolutely terrified. I did not know what this was. And I mean, I could feel like just the cold. It was like ice just being stuck in my ear, and it was horrible.
Wow.
Fucking hell. Like, I just, even now thinking about it, it's like, no.
That makes me very uncomfortable.
Like,
yeah.
I think if I was there, I would have just left the house. Like, you don't own that house anymore. Like,
No, I'm gone.
Just grab your duvet.
I
off
just,
you go.
but like, I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of going, like, oh, the hell? What is going on? And I couldn't, I just couldn't, there was nothing in my brain to say, like, this is right, there's nothing there, like, you're just blank. And I kind of, like, laid there for about 10 minutes maybe, before I actually got the courage to jump out of the bed and turn on the light.
oh, would you like? I don't understand. Like, if something like that happened to me, I would be
You'd be
so
gone,
afraid of turning on the light and seeing what was there.
Yeah, but I was absolutely petrified. And, like, I mean, it's like people say you have a fight or flight.
Yes.
Like, they don't actually say, like, it's like flight, you run straight away or you fight.
Yeah.
No, they don't talk about the absolute heart-pounding fear that you
Middle.
get in your head, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I don't know. You're just like, you're like solid stone, like, you just don't know what to do. And, like, as I said, it was just nearly 10 minutes. I lost count, like, the time, whatever, but I reckon it was about 10 minutes before I actually got up, jumped across the room, turned on the light, and nothing there. Everything was as And I ran out into the sitting room, and I was like, look, this is a prank someone's after playing, because it's myself and my brothers who were always fooling and messing and, always acting to each other. And I just asked my mum straight out, was there somebody in the room? Did somebody come into the room? No, there was no one there. No one came in near you. And then I asked her, like, were Dad and John home? And she was like, no, they haven't come home, like. And I tried to explain to my mum the best way I could, but she was like, don't say anything. The kids are here, like,
Yeah.
And, like, I got a lot of that when I was growing up from my mum. And it's only in the last maybe 5 or 6 years that she's actually admitted that weird shit's happened to her in the house.
Okay.
Now, she won't tell me what's happened around the house.
Yeah.
But apparently she's seen figures, stuff moved where, like, she could put down something in the kitchen, it would go missing, and, like, she'd find it somewhere obscure in the sitting room, like, behind the television, dumped down behind the television, and she'd be like, why is that there,
Yeah.
And my brothers, as well, they've kind of experienced weird stuff as well. John in particular, he's seen lights outside our bedroom window when we were kids.
Like bright lights?
Really bright lights, like
street light bright, or like
No,
UFO kind of bright?
UFO kind of bright, like
Close Encounters of the Third Kind kind of bright lights.
yeah, Close Encounters with the Gerta Gary kind. Yeah, but no, that like. Joe, I'll kind of move on from whatever that, but like John himself, like as I said, he was 9 when he saw those lights, like, but like I remember again, this is around Christmas time when this happened.
Okay.
And at the time our house has been renovated, so like we all had to share the same room. So John and Stephen were in these bunk beds, and I was in a bed sort of off to the far side of the room, and John was on the top bunk. And I remember like before I fell asleep, he said that he could see light and he didn't know what it was. And maybe an hour or two later, he'd actually come out, like he was screaming. I remember he woke me up and he was screaming at me to wake up.
Oh.
And I couldn't wake up. I was like, why are you on about, man? Joe.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah, it's like,
Stop screaming and fuck off.
but like, you know, he's like 9 or 10 at the time. I was 11. I was like, go away. Joe. Like 2 o'clock in the morning. What's wrong with you? Like, and he's like, there's a light outside the window. There's a light outside the window. And I remember looking up, looking out the window, looking out the curtain, and I could see this big bright light myself. That's the moon. I went back to sleep. He was he was petrified.
Record scratch. It was not the moon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
And it wasn't until I woke up like maybe a couple of hours later that I sat up and goes, no, that wasn't right. There is no moon. What the hell was you on about? Like, man, it was Joe.
Yeah.
And he was actually cowered up in his bed, like, and he's just like
gosh.
shaking, like, you know. And like, I kind of got up to him and I said, like, is everything okay? Are you all right? Like, and you know, he's like, I don't know what I saw. I don't know what it was. And like, again, he had tried to explain to Mom and Dad what happened. And I said, like, look, I did see something myself. I wasn't really awake. I will admit that, but I did see something myself. And again, they were like, no, you didn't. Shut the hell up. Just shut up. Say nothing. There's 2 young ones here. Why are you saying anything? Joe.
Yeah.
And it was like, Joe, I don't know why they didn't really want... I suppose, like, you know, you have 4 small kids. You don't want to be terrifying the life out of them either, like, you know.
But, like, it's just... Like, it's strange that there must have been something there for him to feel, like, such an immense amount of fear.
Yeah.
Just from a light.
Yeah.
That's what
It's very, very strange, and just
that's what sticks with me.
The reaction as well with people is like, no, don't say anything. It obviously means that there's something there, but they just don't want to talk about it right now.
That's also a very Irish thing to do.
Yeah, like, you know, I think that thing comes from, like, you know, if you start saying you see things, whatever, and a way, like, mental health and the stigmatization in this country, like, everyone knows, like, if you start talking about seeing things, whatever, they'll end up taking it to the madhouse, you know.
Yeah.
And you're only like a child, you don't need to go to the madhouse, like, you know. That's the way it was, like. And I mean, I'm not trying to be bad on people, whatever, like, you know, like, that's the way Ireland was, like, you know.
Back
and
in the day,
yeah, and I mean, even up into the 90s and the early 2000s are, like, you know, our view on mental health was very bad, like, you know. But if you did start talking about stuff like, you know, seeing shapes, you know,
they kind of brushed it under the rug.
Yeah. You know, and it was sort of, I think it was nearly an unholy thing to talk about.
Yeah.
I can imagine that being a very big thing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, the local parish probably wouldn't have been very happy with that.
No.
Yeah.
You might have got yourself exercised.
Yeah. You know, like, I mean, you'd be just sort of like, oh, did you hear the parties up the road there? They're haunted. Yeah, they're haunted, all right. You know, and the head department, like.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, that's the way it was. And, you know, like, as I said, my parents just wanted to dismiss it, but I think they wanted to dismiss it too because they really didn't want to face up to what was going on either. Like,
There's maybe a little bit of denial there as well.
And fear, I think.
Yeah, fear and denial. Like, if you just pretend it's not there, then everything's okay.
Yeah.
Just ignore the big black shape in the corner, everything's fine.
With the hat.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Speaking of hat...
Oh, no, please don't tell me. You've seen the hat, man.
No, my grandfather, when he, like, my grandfather, when he was alive, he died when he was 79, and I'll get on to him there in a little while because he pops up every now and again too. Oh, he does. In a great way. But, no, my
why are you so casual about this?
Oh, yeah, it's just like, it's all this weird stuff that's happened, dreams, and, like, you know, these strange kind of, I wouldn't even say apparitions or anything like that. He kind of likes to pop up every now and again in my dreams.
Yeah.
And like, I know I sound like a crazy person, but really I'm not.
No.
I'm actually somewhat sane.
But like, we're recording this at like, what time is it now?
It is
11:05.
11:05.
11:05 at night. This is the latest we've ever recorded, and I'm fucking shitting myself.
I don't mean to scare them.
You're already done, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep with the lights on tonight.
Yeah.
I think.
The laptop's already messing up as well.
Fantastic.
So we're
Hi,
already.
Grandad.
Yeah. we're already dealing with that now as well.
Yeah. So if you hear anything weird when you're listening back.
I mean, you're all kind of like cut rate EVP sessions anyway. So.
Yeah. So just hit us up on Twitter if you find something.
It could be James though in the background. There you go.
Like that.
There we go.
Never work with children or animals.
Or James with a beard. Quiet you. Anyway, so yeah, I'll go on about my granddad with the hat. He used to wear, it wasn't a fedora. What's the other ones? There's some type of hat. It's not a bowler hat either. I don't know. It was a really classy looking hat. And
Fancy ass hat.
yeah, it was a fancy ass hat, but it wasn't a fedora. It wasn't one of them yokes. It was like more wide brimmed.
Oh.
Is it Stetson?
No, it's like the
No.
gangsters used to wear them back in the
Oh,
days.
yeah.
You
I know
what
the
them
things you
kind.
mean.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking on the tip of my
It's not.
tongue.
It's not a fedora though, is it? Is it with
It's-
tea or something?
It's something like that. A trip. Yeah, you know what I want.
Yeah.
A tribly or something like that.
Trilby.
Trilby, that's it. Like, yeah.
I know my hats.
Good man yourself. But he used to wear this bloody trilby hat and a long dark overcoat, and like my grandfather was probably 6'5", you know, long thin man.
Big man then.
Oh yeah, he was scrawny, he was thin, but he was very tall, and like he was all bones, like, you know, and like I mean, to even think about him as a ghost is terrifying, you know. Actually, when we were going like watching The Haunting of Hill House, the ghost that was floating around the place, he terrified the life out of me because he actually kind of did resemble my grandfather in a lot of ways. And I was like, nope, not fucking, you know, everything else scared me in that thing, but no, he was the one that like done it for me because he did remind me so much of my grandfather. But anyway, when I met James, you know, when he came up to the house first, my dad turned around and said to James straight out, was it to James or was it to me? I think it was to James. But he turned around and said, like, if you wake up during the night and you need to go to the bathroom, whatever, and there's a guy standing in the hall with a hat, don't mind him, just passing by.
Just don't mind the creepy tall man in the hat.
No, like my grandfather had probably been dead nearly 20 odd years at that stage of the game, and you know, don't mind the tall man, the black coat and the
If
hat.
you can see through him, that's normal.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
Joe.
Just don't look him in the eyes.
Just don't mind him. He's just standing there. He's just watching everything going on around the house, and you're like, "Okay, Dad, perfect." Joe.
That is exactly what I wanted to hear right now.
Yeah, but like that was kind of the first real admission that they had admit, you know, to us that like there's something going on. Like, and I'm like, man in a hat, what?
Yeah.
You know, and like I do believe if there is, we've gone up since like up to my parents' house, whatever. And we've stayed a load of times. But now I don't really get that vibe around the house anymore. I think something's after changing, something's after clicking, and it's, you know, I don't know what it is, but James is just laughing. Stop. Yeah, but you know, it's the atmosphere has changed, and I don't think this weirdness is there anymore. But there is a few odd things. As I say, my mother like leaving stuff down and then not finding it, or you know, another story that I have from my childhood was with my sister. And again, like, now the house had been renovated at this stage, but we had to share a room because her room wasn't ready. And she was young enough at the time. But like, I come home, I think I'd been out in a field drinking. And I was really hungover.
I'm not shocked even.
No.
You were probably drinking with her.
I don't think we knew each other.
No, we didn't.
No.
We met
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
So you were both drinking in separate fields?
No, when we met, we were drinking in a trolley.
Yes.
Together, a shopping trolley.
A trolley.
Yeah, she
you're
was
you're a pair of criminals, you know that,
and
right?
James was there, and he was drinking in a trolley too.
Yeah.
And he had cool ass sunglasses that day.
Yeah.
He had like aviator sunglasses, and this is Limerick City, kid.
Yeah.
Joe.
You didn't get stabbed?
I was living in Limerick. I was the one probably doing the stabbing.
She was the one doing the stabbing.
I wasn't really. Please.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
I could tell you where people got stabbed, but I didn't do it, okay?
For legal reasons, that's also a joke.
But,
Leave that in.
Yeah. No, none of this is getting caught. This is gold.
But I was saying, oh yeah. So back to Michelle and like having to share the bloody room with me, and I had a guitar inside in the bedroom, and as I said, I came home one night and like I was ossified out of my mind, and I fell into bed.
Literally.
As you do. And the room was spinning, and I was just like, I'm not having any of it. And you know,
I'm done with all of this.
I am really done with all of it. Like, I managed to fall off to sleep anyway, but Michelle had a night light in the corner of the room to kind of help her go to sleep, because even like she knew something was going on. She didn't want to admit there was anything going on. I just think she was kind of like, if I say something, Mammy's going to give out to me, that kind of job or something, you know. But like she couldn't sleep in the dark properly. Like I think something probably had happened.
Maybe like a subconscious thing or something.
Yeah,
like
something. She just,
you could kind of sense it right on the edge of your
yeah.
Your
I fucking get that.
You know what I mean? Like it's there, but it's not there.
Yeah. But she was picking up on something.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
But as I said, I just came home and, as I said, fell into bed, and I was out for the light, like, you know, out for the count, like. And a couple of hours later, she came over to my side of the room. She was like trying to wake me up, and I was grumpy enough with her, I can say. But I was like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "There's a weird fog just sitting around the top of the, like, it was just around the ceiling. It wasn't ascending. It wasn't doing. It was just." Like floating around the ceiling,
so like a mist, just
like a mist, like, but like it was rolling too, which was weird.
I've seen this movie.
It's all fucking bad.
Yeah, didn't like where it went.
And I was there like, I'm too drunk to deal with this. What the hell is going on? Like,
oi, ghost, fuck off.
I think I'm kind of like that now. Back then, I was like, what is that? But like, I was there, I'm seeing things. I have to be seeing things. But the fact that my probably 13, 14-year-old sister was probably standing in the room or whatever, however old Michelle was at the time, she was standing there and she was like, yeah, that's there too. I can see that. You're not going nuts.
Fuck that.
So I turned on the main bedroom light, and as I did, the guitar in the corner just decided to go bloom.
Was it on a stand or anything? Or
it was on a stand. I had a stand for it, like, but it just went like all the strings down from...
Oh, the strings.
The strings, yeah, just went bloom.
What, like the end of
someone
Tribute?
Strummed
so
it.
It's just like...
Yeah, someone strummed it, like, you know?
No, fuck that.
That's nasty.
Like, you're just there like, oh my God, what am I fucking dealing with? And then I just went out, like, that was about 4 or 5 in the morning. I just told Michelle, look, get out of the room. Going into the sitting room. We're camping in the sitting room for the night. Let's just, you know, we're not dealing with this no more.
Let that mist do its thing.
Yeah,
we will deal with that in the morning.
Just stay in the sitting room, turn on the TV, ignore the living hell out of that, because I'm not dealing with it, like, you know. And then the next morning, my mother comes up and she finds myself and Michelle just like two cranky arse each, just sitting inside the sitting room going, and she's like, what is wrong with you? And like, why are you in here like this early in the morning? And I was like, something happened last night. I said, I can't deny it anymore, like. And I was like, something was in the room.
Yeah.
And I goes, I'm sick to the back teeth of ignoring it. You've been ignoring it for years now. Like, I was getting really fed up with this now, like, you know, and I wanted answers.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for me, my mother didn't have the answers. She didn't know what was going on. And again, she was like, look, could you just drop it and not bring it up? Or, you know.
But she kind of acknowledged it in some way.
And that's the way that she was going to acknowledge it. That, like, there was like, you know, she wasn't being a bitch. She just didn't know how to deal with it herself, like, you know.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like, you know, you're a terrified little kid, like, you know, and, like, you're just told it's like, it's your imagination. You're just letting your imagination run wild, and you shouldn't be reading Goosebumps, and you shouldn't be watching stupid things like that, like, you know. And
blaming the things they can see.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's not that. Like, I mean, R.L. Stein never wrote about a bloody mist rolling around the fucking sea, or, you know, people just, like, suddenly whispering in your ear at, like, odd hours, you know, not even odd hours at night, just 10 o'clock at night, you're trying to go to sleep, and something in the room, temperature drops, and you're just getting someone just hissing in your ear, like, you know. There was none of that. Like, I've never come across ghost stories like that. And, you know.
However, if they now get released by Goosebumps after this has gone live,
money.
I'd be claiming some royalties.
Yeah,
on
I'd be
that.
claiming some fucking serious copyright on that.
I want my money, R.L. Stein. Jack Black, whoever the hell made the movie. But no, like, it was just a really strange And as I said, like, my brothers experienced their own things. They, like I said, the one shared thing that myself and John had was that light thing. I think my brother seen something outside the house. He went out, like, basically we were, like, myself and my brothers, we smoke, and we're not allowed to smoke inside in the house. And he came in to, he knocked on my bedroom door one night and basically had run out of cigarettes, and he was like, he's only a teenager at the time too, so he shouldn't realistically been smoking.
Yeah.
So I gave him a cigarette, whatever, and he went out.
Shouldn't have been smoking, but there you go. Have
Yeah,
one anyway.
but like, it's like, you say no to him, he's still going to plague you, like,
Yeah.
I think I'd actually said no to him about three or four times, but like, he was still coming up, oh, come on, just give me a cigarette, come on, just, you know I love you, and I you're the best sister ever. It's like, just here, go away and get out. So he went out into the yard, basically he went out into the front door, and I heard the door close behind him. But like 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, he just like ran back into the house, slammed the door as hard as he could, locked it, and I asked him, what the hell is wrong with you, like? And he was like, he was shaking again, jittering, like, and he goes, there's something outside, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's there at the side of the house, it's trying to do, I don't know what he was trying to say, I think he said it was like playing a tin whistle or something like that. Like,
oh God.
that's what he was saying, like.
Oh, the fucking whistler.
Yeah, like, there's another folklore story about that, like, but that's not really in Toomevara. It was more in another village, Borsalee. That's like, there was supposed to be something like that, a tin whistling man or something like that.
There's a creepypasta about the whistler.
Is there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy, it's the story is the guy sort of chronicling his life, isn't it? And he keeps meeting this guy that's whistling at him.
Yeah.
And just throughout various stages of his life. I mean, I'm really paraphrasing it now.
It happens for, at least a decade, I want to say.
And
Really?
then it all goes quiet for a long time, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And then he's out walking by I think it's a river or something.
The river, yeah.
And he hears this whistling, and he looks out over the river, and he sees the fellow in the boat. There's a fellow in a boat whistling at him, and he actually sees him out on the river.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly this same guy that's been following him around for the past
Since
God
he was
knows
a
how
kid.
long.
Like,
Jesus. That's kind of, that's...
Is that just unlocked a new level of spooky now for you?
Yeah, because like, I'm kind of getting chills, but like, the thing with the tin whistling man that we have, like, basically, you know what a tin whistle is. It's a stupid instrument that we were all made play in primary school.
You're not bitter though, are you?
No, three
No.
blind mice, never again. Or actually, no, do you know what we had to learn tin whistle? My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, lads.
no fucking way.
Yes.
Pretty sure the Canadians should apologise for that.
Yeah. You owe us one. Really, you do. But,
At least it wasn't a recorder.
oh God, no. That was too fancy for us, man.
No,
Tin whistle.
we had recorders in England,
Yeah.
and it was truly awful.
I
Truly
fucking
awful.
rocked the shit
Nobody
out of that
rocks the shit out of recorders. Nobody does.
I did.
No, it sounds like you're killing a cat.
I want you to play the trooper on the recorder and tell me
I
what to
have
do.
I do not.
I have an ocarina in the bedroom, and I really want to learn the trooper.
You want a good way
Do-
of getting out of playing then?
What?
Playing with your nose.
Play the trooper on the recorder through your nose.
The teachers just tend to take it after you, or you're special.
Anyway. But like the story of the tin whistling man, I think like I now I'm kind of vague enough with the details of it because it was only kind of told to me third, fourth hand by different people.
Yeah.
But their whole version of it is like he would appear in your yard or he'd appear on your farm, and basically you had to kind of throw gold at him to disappear. That's the story that I
So
was
like
told.
regular buskers.
Yeah, just like get out of my house. Sure.
This sounds like less like something supernatural and more like just someone who's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like apparently if you didn't give him the money and he did disappear, you had bad luck kind of crap.
Oh yeah, okay. I'd throw him a bit of pocket change.
Yeah,
Like,
just like 10 cent, here you go. Gold coin, really, like, and 10 cents are gold, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
I might even throw 50 if I'm feeling a bit flush.
Ah, yeah.
Send
Look
like,
at you.
not-
Look
Yeah.
at you with your job.
He might throw back the €2 going, that's not gold. Get your peasant money away from me. Give me them 50 cents. Sure, but like, yeah, those were kind of, that was our version of the whistling man. Mm-hmm. But my brother, like, I don't know whether he did see him or not. Like, he was frightened by something, and whether it was the tin whistling man or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he didn't throw gold. at him
Something
anyway.
spooked him anyway.
Yeah, something got him in out of that. You know, because Stephen is like myself. He does really enjoy his cigarettes, and he would not be one to throw it away, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to scare him either, like, you know.
Yeah.
But actually, but I'll go on with something else here now for a second. I keep jumping from one thing to the other, like. But as a family in that house, the last kind of weird thing that happened would have been in April of 2016.
Okay, so not 3 years ago then.
Yeah, we got a death knock. That's what, you know.
What the fuck is that? That does
That
not sound
sounds
good.
not good.
A death knock is when someone in your family has died or is about to die, you'll get a knock to the door. And you go answer the door, there's no one there. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like
And
that.
I'm not okay with any part of that sentence.
Yeah, so, like, it doesn't sound like... This is kind of a sad story for, like, you know, people... Well, it's a sad story for our family anyway. But
Yeah.
What happened was... How we ended up getting this death knock or whatever... my cousin Louise had passed away. It was a Saturday. I should start that. It was a Saturday in April. And my cousin Louise had passed away. She was young enough. She was only, like, in her late 30s when she passed.
Okay.
And she had heart problems, but she had diabetes as well. And it was complications due to both that she ended up passing away suddenly. So she was actually in the Martyr Hospital and she was recovering. And, you know, she was just about to get up and ask a question to the doctor. And I think a clot or something went up between her heart and her lung.
Oh, shit.
And she passed away. And, you know, sad thing to have happened. So myself and James were actually below in Watford. We were visiting a friend and we were staying overnight down there. And I got a phone call from my father to say that my cousin Louise had passed and basically to get up to Tipperary as fast as we could. And we did. And we got to the home place anyway. It transpired that Dad had to bring Louise's mum and dad, my aunt, my uncle-in-law, up to the Martyr, up to Dublin to, you know, kind of sort out the body, you know, as in, like, you know, sort out the final details, whatever, how her body was going to be brought home.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of sort out those kind of...
The logistics kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing, yeah. So that was fine. But Dad had kind of said, look, could you just, like, basically put on the dinner for the lads, like, you know, for my siblings, and, you know, just sort of make sure that the house is tidy. Because my mom, she was in a really bad way. She would have been close to Louise.
Yeah.
You know, before I was born, Mom and Louise were very, you know, Mom sort of took Louise on as the kind of a daughter kind of thing. And then, you know, when I was born, then Louise sort of kind of took me over for a little bit. And, you know, she's like, oh, new baby. And, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so we were all kind of close to her in that way. But, so, like... Went into the house and we were just like, I cooked dinner for my siblings, cooked dinner for James, as you know, trying to tidy up the place a little bit. And there was myself, so it was my 3 siblings, James, myself inside in the kitchen. So all 5 of us were inside in the kitchen, chatting and joking away. And next thing you know, I hear the doorbell ringing. And my brother John heard the doorbell ringing. Neither Stephen nor Michelle or James heard the doorbell.
Oh.
It was just myself and John.
That's dirty.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, like, I remember, like, I was like, oh, God, the doorbell's after ringing. And you see, as I said, Gortagary is a really small community. And, like, Nina is the next town. And it's kind of, like, you know, it's just all a small area. Like, you know, and everyone kind of knows everyone. And news travels fast.
Yeah.
And when I heard the doorbell ringing, I was like, oh, God, now that's a neighbour from across the road. And they're coming over now to get the gory details of what happened. You know, they're after hearing Louise's past or something.
Being
and
nosy,
you know,
like, yeah.
And, like, I wasn't really in the mood to face them on my own. But, like, my brother kind of picked up on the same thing as well. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll go to the door and hunt them away kind of thing. So, went out to the front door. Now, it's frosted glass in our front door.
Yeah.
The doorbell went. We went out of the kitchen, into the hallway, opened the door, nobody there. Not a sinner. And John went out further into the yard. Like, I mean, it's bright daylight. It's like, you know, it's April. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. There's nothing ominous about this whatsoever, like. And he comes back in. He's like, there's nobody there, you know. And, like, I mean, the house across the road, well, I say it's across the road, it's actually up a T-junction. Like, we are on a T-junction. They live up around the corner, like.
Yeah.
So, like, you could have to see them. If they're leaving, they have to either go up to the top of the yard to get out, or they have to go out into the road and go up the corner, and that's all visible. You can see it all, like. And there was nobody out there. Nobody. Joe. And John came in and he's like, look, forget about it. You didn't hear nothing. And he was trying to rationalise, but that's John. He will rationalise it, like.
Yeah.
But again, I could see it scared him shitless because he did not want to admit what had just happened.
Okay.
And I just went back in, and the lads were like, well, we didn't hear the door ringing. We didn't hear anything. Like, and I was like, but myself and John did. And they were like, no, they were still convinced that they didn't hear it. Nobody heard it. You know, just myself and my brother. But I said to my father later on that night about what happened. And he goes, yeah, that's what they call a death knock. That's just Louise letting you know that she's going on, like.
That's a very ominous name for that.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot worse than
What it is, like,
Yeah.
But basically, like, Joe, it's not like, Darby O'Gills and the little people and the Banshee and the deck coach. I mean, the deck coach is the big thing, like, and that thing. I don't know. But, yeah, but, like, it's not as, like, bad as that. It's just, I think it's, like, a thing, like, where, the person is just letting you know that they're passing on or whatever, like,
Yeah.
And, like, it's kind of a nice thing in one way for us to kind of know that she's kind of gone on to a better place, whatever, like, But
Still fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's still a bit creepy.
We'll stay on the knocking theme here for a minute because that used to happen. Again, pishogues and all that crack.
Yes.
So we'll start. This happened in 2010, and I was living in Neenah Town, and I was 23 at the time, and I was drinking a lot. But as these stories usually go,
I am seeing a theme.
I'm not an alcoholic.
Now, but back then.
Oh, back then I was a party animal. My house was a party house, to be fair, like, but, But, like, to be honest with you now, like, I know I say a lot of things. I was drunk, I was this, I was that. Like, in the same time, I do know when weird shit is happening to me. I'm like, no, this is not right. I know my senses, I know myself, and it's like, no, this is not right.
It's reading pretty high on the weird shit meter then.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, as I said, as a kid, like, I mean, I wasn't going around drinking when I was, 9 or 10 and things happening, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what drove me to drink, to be fair. But no, it was a bright, sunny Wednesday morning, and my housemate at the time, she was downstairs, and we both like, okay, the one thing I have to explain first is that the house I was living in Neenah, was an attached house on the street. There was no entrance to the back yard whatsoever. You had to actually go through the house, into the kitchen, out the back that way. That's the only way you could get out into the back of the house.
Straight through then?
Yeah, straight through. There was an 8-foot wall on our left. There was another like 9-foot, 10-foot wall to this side of us that belonged to this big old house. And the shed down the back took up most of the So there was no even way to get in through the back from the outside. Like, it was just straight through the house. That was it. So myself and my housemate, we were just chatting away in the hallway. Next thing you know, we hear knocking at the back door, and the two of us are looking at each other going, did someone just lock themselves out or something?
Fuck that.
But again, frosted glass, and I go into the kitchen, and like clear as day, could hear the knocking and could see that there was no one at the door. We vamoosed. We went. We gone.
So you looked, you could hear someone knocking at the door.
Yeah, but like
and there was
I thought,
nobody
like,
there.
but you see, again, as I said, there was like, it was a party house, and what we were afraid of was like someone was after getting too drunk the night before, probably like, and I used to hang around with a lot of men that used to like go outside and urinate in our backyard and probably lock themselves out in the process.
Fuck's sake.
You know? Looking at no one, Tony. But like, no, that you know, it was just something that went into my head. It's like one of them each. So I was after locking themselves out. But no, there was like hammering hellfire on the door. Like, you know, the glass was nearly battering in. Saw that there was no one at the door, and like, come on, let's go. We're going out now.
Yeah,
It's time to leave.
Let's just leave.
Let's go. And like, I think the housemate ended up bringing back holy water because the church is only down the road from us. And the housemate ended up bringing back holy water and like nearly blessing the house. What's going on?
The power of Christ compels you.
Yeah. But so that happened like mid-July. Then around August, it was in around August, I was on my own in the house, and it was about 10 to 6 in the morning, and I could hear someone knocking on the door downstairs. Now, as I said, I had a lot of friends that, like, you know, they were coming up drinking in the house and whatever, like, and who I thought it was this fella, he shall remain nameless, but he was always in the pub next door to the house, and he used to like stumble out of there And even though he only lived down around the corner from me, he would just like, he just automatically used to come to my house to party more, like, and he'd be there hammering on the door, trying to get in or whatever. And like, we found him passed out outside the front door sometimes, you know, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
But this particular morning, I was not in the mood for him. I was like, look, you know, I was on my own in the house and I didn't particularly want him around the place. And like, you know, this is 10 to 6 in the morning. The hammering at the door had woken me up. And like, it was just persistent. It didn't stop. That was the thing. There was like just consistently rapping, like, you know. And I was getting so fucking fed up of it. And I text this person, goes, look, I know you're outside. Could you please leave me alone? I'm on my own. And like, I got no reply back, nothing, like. So I was like, do you know something? I'm going to ring him. And I rang his phone and didn't answer. And the knocking's still happening. I was like, right, that's it. Like, and I obviously forgotten what happened a couple of weeks beforehand. But I went downstairs and I was fuming. I was absolutely livid with him. Joe. And I was like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to just Joe. And I got down and I was just my foot hit the bottom step of the stairs. Knocking stopped. And
I don't like that.
Yeah.
No.
And
I don't like that at all.
Opened the door, flew open the door, go, what do you want? No one. No one. Not even the bin men. There was nothing there. The street now I lived on was a straight, Joe, and I walked out into the middle of the street. Main street, like one of the main streets in Nina, like. Walked out into the middle of the street. Nobody going down towards Tesco's. Nobody going that direction whatsoever. No cars, nothing. Looked down into the middle of town. Nothing. Not a sinner on the road. The CBS was right across the road from me. There was nobody, like, I mean, that was kind of a long gateway in. There was nobody in there, like, you know. There was nowhere this person could have went in that 5 seconds that I opened that door. They couldn't have hidden. There was no cars they could have hidden behind. Nothing. And I was just like, what in the name of God was that? Like, what? Joe. So I just went back inside, closed the door, locked it, and thought to myself, like, right, I'm not staying here on my own anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I actually presumed it was something to do with the house.
Okay.
And there's the thing. I presumed it was something to do with the house.
Yeah.
Fast forward maybe 2 weeks later again, and I ended up out at my parents. I was staying at my parents' house this night, and it was a Friday. It was Friday morning, and next thing you know, I was in my old bedroom, and I hear knocking at the window.
I'd have fucked this right off.
Yeah.
Please tell me you don't live on a fucking second floor or something.
Oh no, it's bungalow.
Okay.
It's a proper bungalow, like.
And relax.
Yeah. But again, sun shining out of the, like, you know, sun split the stones, perfect, grand, you know, lovely weather that we're having for that time of year. And there was knocking at the bedroom window, and I just sat up in the bed. I was like, oh no, not again.
Fuck's sakes.
I am not dealing with this again.
You know, I was like, oh God, no. And I wouldn't look out the window. There was just something like that. Something was in this, like, feeling possessed me. Do not open that curtain. I know it's sunny outside. You can't see anything, but whatever happens, do not open that curtain. Just don't. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Listen to my gut feeling.
It is a very strong instinct, that feeling.
Yeah. So, like, I just couldn't. But the knocking stopped. Now, both my parents are up. My mother was getting ready for work. My father was blowing the bathroom. He was shaving. He was getting ready for work as well, like. So, next thing you know, I heard the knocking at the back door. And Dad was in the bathroom. And, like, that's basically just straight across from the back door, like. And I could hear him stopping what he was doing, like, shaving. And he went to the back door. And there was nothing there. And
Fucking course there was then.
Yeah, and then I could hear, like, the knocking at the front door, and I could hear Mom going out from the kitchen into the hallway, open the door, and no one there. Funny thing is that at the time we had 2 big German Shepherds.
None of that sounds funny.
Yeah, but we had these 2 big German Shepherds, and these dogs, like, if anyone set foot into the yard, they'd have brought the house down. They would have barked their bloody minds out. And the dogs didn't do nothing. They were just, like, basically what they were doing was whimpering. They weren't actually barking, they were just whimpering.
Don't like that.
Friend,
Don't like that at all.
My dad did not like that either. He went up into the yard and he sort of looked around, whatever, and he came back down and he just went back in. And he said, if that happens again, don't open the door. That's what he said, like, you know. And that, I think, was, that would have been sort of the real last time that happened in Tipperary.
Oh, wait, no, so it's happened more.
It happened once more after I met James, and I didn't answer the door that time. I don't even think we were in the house when it happened. But we were living in Cahernan Meadows in Killarney, like, and we were living there with two of our friends, Amber and Mikey. And Amber had gone to, she was doing like that VTOS course thing or something. So basically she was gone into school or something like that. And Mikey, her partner, he was like, they were waiting for the postman or something. I think he was waiting for a package or something like that.
Yeah.
I think myself and James might have gone out to his parents and we weren't there. But basically Mikey heard us knocking at the door. And like he was pretty much just at the top of the stairs, so he kind of ran down because he was waiting for a parcel. And like the knocking had Joe, and the same thing again, like he was knocking as he was coming down the stairs. But the minute he set foot on the ground, like the minute he got to the bottom step, it stopped. But like the door was right beside the stairs. Like, do you remember?
I remember the house,
yeah. And when he opened the door, like there was nobody there.
That's not really nice.
No, and again, frosted glass, the whole thing. But that's kind of the last time that happened, like, And I told him previously about what had happened with all this knocking, this weirdness, whatever. And he reckoned, like Mikey just reckoned that basically they were looking for you.
Yeah.
They were just looking for you.
They're after you.
Yeah.
If we get a fucking knock now, I'm leaving.
I'm
gone.
Done.
Fucking gone.
Still to this day, I don't know what it is or what it was like, and
I don't plan on finding out.
No, I don't want no part
I'd
of this.
love to know who the bloody hell was knocking at the door at 6 o'clock. Like, look, 10 to 6 in the morning, do not knock on my door. I don't care whether you're beast man or a child. You're not knocking on my door at 10 to 6 in the morning. You woke me from a very deep slumber, like.
Keep going, we have about up to half hour left.
Yeah, so I will probably go on about Grandad and how he appeared in my dreams. But this is in 2013.
Questions definitely need answering about that.
Okay, right. So I will explain what happened with my grandfather. He died in 27th of May 1994. I was 7 years of age at the time when he died. When I was born, he had no daughters. He had only one son, my father. And he was sort of a man that he wanted a big family. But it was his second marriage. He married late in life. And my grandmother, when he married her, she was, kind of gone out of the childbearing age kind of bracket, like,
Yeah.
So they had one son. They basically, Gran had two children, but like one of her sons died early in a couple of hours after he was born. And I'm not sure whether he was born before Dad or a year after Dad, but my grandmother, like, she took it bad anyway. But when I was born then, my grandfather pretty much took me over, spoiled me rotten up until the day he died. So, as I said, he died in 94, and we go on to 2013 now, and he pretty much, I was living in Glenbeigh, I would say, right? And I was living with James. And one night, I had this dream, and I was at home, and I was in the sitting room, and I was on the PC, the family computer, whatever, and I was messing around on that, and I could hear someone shouting out in the hall. And I asked,
shouting,
like, roaring, like. And at first I thought it was my father. And like, because my father used to do that too. Like, if he couldn't find something or something broke or someone robbed something from him that they shouldn't have taken, he would be like, where's that gone now? What are you after doing my stuff? But it actually sounded like him.
Yeah.
And I got up, like, I remember in the dream, I got up off the chair, and I even remember thinking in the dream, what is wrong with him now? And I went out into the hallway, and front door was wide open, and there, sitting on the front doorstep, was my grandfather. And I was there like, what? Like, I mean, it's just, in the dream, it just seemed like the most natural thing to be happening. Like, that my dead grandfather, he's dead, what? Like, this is 2013, he died in 94. That's what, like...
It was 20 years almost.
Yeah, nearly 20 years, 19 years. He was dead 19 years, like. And he's just sitting outside front door, like, roaring back in, going, I can't find my shoes. Where are my shoes?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
No.
That's perfectly normal.
No, and I was there like, what are you on about? Come in and get your shoes. And he's like, I can't come in. You need to get my shoes. Like, what the hell? Like, and this kind of went on for a minute or two, and then I woke up. And I just sat up in the bed. I was like, what the hell was that about? Like, it's like, fucking
Pure
hell.
what the fuck moment.
Yeah, it's like...
Just sort of wake up and just like, well...
Why was my grandfather in my dream roaring about his shoes at me? Like, what a weird thing to happen, like. The hell?
Today's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's... what's going on, like? But every evening I ring my mom, and, she tells me about the news at back home and whatever, and, it's grand, whatever. But, like, this particular evening, anyway, as I said, I had that dream that night, the night before, whatever, and I rang her the following evening, and we were just chit-chatting. I was like, hold up a second there now, ma'am, I need to tell you something. And I told her about the dream.
Yeah.
And she was dead silent on the phone. Didn't utter a word.
That's never a good sign.
No. And she was like, are you sure about this now, Maria? You're pretty positive about it. And I was like, yeah, he was looking for his shoes. He was definitely looking for his shoes. He was definitely, and
the man was looking for his fucking shoes.
Yeah, and I was like, and it was Granddad, it was Mick, and my mother just said down the phone, dead straight, he was buried with no shoes.
Ah, chills.
Yeah.
So that probably explains why he was after his shoes then.
Yeah, because the morning he died, basically the undertakers came out to the house, and I was in school when this all happened. I actually didn't know he had died till, he died early Friday morning. Mm-hmm. My parents had made the decision to send us all to school because they were like, look, we have so much to deal with now. We just can't be dealing with 3 small kids running around the house, and this is going on, so send them to school. My grandfather wasn't living with us. He was living in Toomevara, the village just down the road. So, they just sent us to school and they were dealing with the undertakers and whatever. So, one of the undertakers turned around to my mum and she's like, look, can you find his best suit and find his shoes, whatever, and whatever else you want to bring with it. Anything that we can take with us for him, we'll do that,
Yeah.
So, Mum found his suit and my grandmother found his tie and stuff like that, but for the love of God, they could not find the man's shoes. They could not, and he was only wearing them a week beforehand at my first Holy Communion,
Yeah.
But they couldn't find them anywhere. They were they searched high up, low down, they pulled out the wardrobes, presses, could not find them. And that was the thing with my grandfather. He hid things so well, he couldn't even find them himself. But, they were in such a tizzy over this whole thing. And, the undertaker just went up to my mum and she's like, look, do you know something? It doesn't matter because, when he's laid out in the coffin, his feet will be covered, there's a white satin thing over the body, and they're his upper half will be exposed to the wake and the crowd, but his feet will be covered so nobody will notice, so he'll be fine. And that's what it was explained to me in 2013, and that's why he was buried with no shoes. And I've had people say to me, oh, you must have heard a story about it afterwards, or you probably... I was like, no, I heard nothing about this. My mother never mentioned it. I don't even think my father to this day still knows that the man is buried without his shoes, And, yeah.
Well, I can tell you one person who knows they were buried without no shoes.
And it's my grandfather.
Yeah.
Because he's probably getting really cold feet in that grave. And he's like, where are my fucking shoes? Give them to me.
Probably cursing all of you.
Yeah.
That might explain why you had so much weird shit happen. And if you think you're maybe cursed, it may be because your grandfather was buried with no shoes.
Yeah.
It's actually
and
him.
That's why.
Poor
All
man.
that weird ass shit that's happened is because he was buried with no shoes. And he's decided to just take it out on you.
But weird ass shit happened to him. Do you remember the story I told you about him trying to cut down the hawthorn tree and
Yeah.
and that the site, he was a forester and one of the local farmers came up and go, hey, there's a hawthorn bush down there and I want you to get rid of it. And he went down there with his scythe and he saw and he tried to whack down the thing and it was hitting steel on steel, and apparently the branch moved out and hit him on top of the head. And yeah, again, haunted Ireland, lads. It's a freaky place,
Yeah.
But that's that was one of the first times I think he appeared. Second time he did appear again in the dream, and it was pretty much his funeral all over again.
Okay.
And this one now, I really didn't tell anyone because I didn't know at the time what was going on, and I just thought it was this kind of weird trauma thing, whatever. But I had this dream that basically we had to rebury him, that we had to have his funeral all over again.
Okay.
And what happened, I found out later, basically I had this dream, we buried him, grand. But I found out what happened was, in around the time I had the dream, a local woman in my parents' area, she had passed away, and her grave was she was buried kind of too far over. She was actually buried over on top of my grandparents' grave,
Oh.
Yeah. And when my grandfather bought the plot to the graveyard, whatever, he bought 4 spaces. So basically my parents are supposed to be buried there as well. They can't be buried now there because this woman, like, it was just an oversight. They didn't realise the grave was that far over, and like my parents can't be buried there anymore. But when I had this dream about reburying my grandfather and all that kind of happened in around the same time. So
that's very spooky.
Again, it's really weird, like, and again, people are kind of going like, oh, maybe you knew about it, and you're just like, no.
Of course you fucking did.
How are you going to know about something like that?
You didn't even know the woman, like.
No, I didn't, because, like, I mean, I've been down in Kerry for the last, nearly 8 years now, so that when that happened, that would have been, 3, 4, 5 years at that stage, so I wouldn't have known what had been happening in the area at the time or that. The only way I found out about it was because my dad said something weird one evening that he'd have to be cremated, and like he was very against cremation. I don't know why, like, but I was sort of like, why would you be cremated when you have the grave below, like? And he's like, well, would you not know what happened? And that's how I found out, like.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's very, very spooky.
Yeah.
Very, very spooky.
Yeah, and I didn't bother telling him that about the dream either. I just kind of told my mother, and she was like, look, you and your grandfather there now, shut the fuck up.
You two can sit in your corner.
My mother's there like, you're some kind of white witch or something. You just sit over there and do nothing.
Yeah, in the corner, don't do nothing.
Yeah. So you're not allowed Ouija boards, you're not allowed tarot cards, you're not allowed crystal balls, nothing like that. Don't do anything.
Don't be casting none of your bullshit.
Yeah. But I should go on about the story of the Banshee.
Tell the story of the Banshee.
Yeah,
that's what we're all here for.
Okay. So this will be the last one, really, like. And that was in 2010. Easter... Yeah, it was Easter Sunday 2010. Easter Sunday night, Easter Monday morning would kind of go that way.
Just before I met you.
Yeah, it would have been...
About a year before I met you.
Yeah. And you know Tony O'Mara.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Mara, if you do listen to this, big old shout out.
I'll send it to him later.
Big old shout out to Tony O'Mara later. Clock Jordan. But, yeah, thanks, James. But we were out that night, but like we were broke ass fuckers. We had nothing to our name, and basically just went out for the crack. Like I think we had €10 to get into the nightclub, and basically I had to sneak him in. That was it, like. But we had no drink, we had nothing really, and we ended up meeting 2 or 3 of our friends in the nightclub, and they were like Easter Sunday night in Nina. It is jam packed, but jam packed with all the wrong kind of people.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like. You're not in the mood for it. You went out, you thought there might be a bit of crack, there's nothing happening. All right, go on, good luck. But we met 2 or 3 of our friends in the nightclub, and they're like, look, we're heading back to our house if you want to come back with us. So we said, like, oh yeah, go on,
fuck
grand.
it, why
not, like. So we went back anyway to their place, and like, people, I do not suggest you go smoke weed, but that's what happened. I ended up having a couple of tokes, and it wasn't anything that I didn't get really stoned off it, and Tony had maybe 1 drink.
Yeah.
So a couple of tokes of a joint I had, he had 1 drink. Not enough to kind of inebriate us or like think that we were like out of our minds or anything like that.
Dull your senses.
Yeah, nothing like that, like,
yeah.
It was just a bit of a happy buzz for half an hour and then we're gone, like,
Yeah.
So we stuck around for a little bit, and as I said, we had our, he had his drink, I had my tokes, and then we'd like, right, like, look, we're going to go on home, we're going to walk back up to Summerhill where I was living at the time. And this particular house, if anyone knows Nina Town, there's a housing estate down the back of Nina Library. And where I lived was Summerhill. So basically, we had to walk up back at the back of the library and just keep walking straight up, turn left and go around. It should be like a 10-minute walk easily.
Yeah.
5 if you cut across the church. But we're walking up the street anyway, and myself and Tony were just talking away, yabbing on. And we could hear this noise out in the distance, like loads of people talking over each other. And given the time of night, it was like about, nearly 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we just both presumed that the pubs were let out downtown and there was a big crowd downtown. And I mean, this is a bank holiday, so that's what we were thinking. And at first we paid no heed to it. But as we're passing up the library, Tony just turns to me and he just kind of says it out the corner of his mouth, "Can you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can."
That's never what you want
No.
to fucking hear.
No. And he was like, "Alright," because I thought like I was hearing things or something. And I was like, no, I can hear it too. Like, it's just, basically I kind of described it sounds like loads of people talking, doesn't it? And he's like, yeah, he goes, but it's like really over each other, like.
Yeah.
And
Weirdly, I have dreams like that sometimes.
Get out.
you know when I've said to you in the morning, like, oh, I've had like a noisy dream or something like that. That's
like,
what I mean by saying a noisy dream.
Get out.
what, people,
No.
like loads of people talking?
Yeah, like
or-
loads of people just buzzing.
Hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. But anyway, so we got up to like the junction where the library's at anyway, like, so there's a T junction there, and we noticed that the wind is starting to pick up a little bit. And we were kind of going, okay, sudden weather conditions have like, you know, the weather's after start take a bit of a weird turn.
Met Erin's played a blinder again.
Yeah, as you do. But we crossed the road anyway, and like the church is kind of off to our right, and it's the big old Gothic style, Joe, holy Catholic. Look at us, we have loads of money kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at that hour of the night is fucking frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were going to cut across the church, but the two of us were kind of freaked out like by this noise, and we just said, look, we'll go around the long way. And so we turned left, and you could just go down to the bottom of the street and turn back up around on yourself and go up Church Road. So that's what we were doing anyway. And again, we were just talking away, trying to ignore this noise, but it was getting louder. And this talking was now kind of like chanting, and it was getting more rapid, and Joe.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And the wind was kind of picking up more and more. And myself and Tony, like, we noticed that there was no traffic on the roads. There was no taxis passing us up and down. There was no cars. There was no one walking around us. Like, there was nobody coming up the street towards us. There was nobody passing us. Just this noise.
No good thing comes from chanting.
No.
That's
but,
one
like,
thing I have learned. No good thing comes from chanting.
But, like, this was getting, like, hysterical at this stage. Like, this noise, like, it sounded like someone was actually getting hysterical. Like, actually, more high-pitched, more rapid, like, and it was kind of turning into sort of a weird, long screeching behind it, like. And, like, we didn't really know what the hell was going on, like, and we were just like, look, we need to get home now. We just need to get up to Summerhill. So we got down, and we turned onto Church Road, and we started walking back. And I mean, the wind now was like storm force at this stage. Like, I mean, there was a gale blowing, like, and
Jesus.
this just blew up out of nowhere, like. And the noise was all around us at this stage of the game. And like, Tony now, I don't think it takes an awful lot to frighten him. Like, I mean, I know him for years, like, and he's just one of the biggest messers, and it takes a lot to get him nervous, like.
Yeah.
But he was very nervous that, like, and he was really spooked, like, and we couldn't walk fast enough, like, and we're just like, right, look, it's somewhere behind us, or it's somewhere over on the street we were walking.
Yeah.
We're up here now on Church Road, so that thing has to, like, if it's following us, it has to come up behind us, and, by the time it gets up behind us, we'll be up by the cinema, and we're home clear, and it kept, like, as I said, it was just getting more hysterical, as I said. But finally, we did get up to we kind of half jogged it, I'd say. But we got up to the cinema, and all of a sudden, everything went back to normal. No wind. No, like, cars just suddenly were passing us by, and people walking up and down the street, like, there's nothing happening, like,
That's unsettling.
Yeah, and like, someone walked down past us, as in, like, they turned down onto the Church Road and just walking down towards this noise that we were.
Fuck
But not bothering them.
Did you accidentally fall into another dimension?
Have no idea. Have no clue. But we were just like, what in the bloody hell was that like? And we turned on to Summerhill, and we started walking, maybe, I think we were 100 metres past the cinema, when everything just stopped again. The noise came back, and it was coming from in front of us at this stage. And the wind was there, and it was blowing strong again, and the two of us just looked at each other and go, fuck this. And we just ran in towards it, because we actually had to walk up that way, like, we had to walk up to the house, and we had to walk into that noise to get up to the house. And the two of us just ran for it. We were like, look, if this thing is going to come for us, we might as well just go out with a bang, kind of thing.
Braveheart kind of style.
It's just like that SpongeBob meme that's around now. It's just like, I'm out.
Yeah, that's it, like, But, like, when we got in, like, we ran up the street, and, like, I mean, the noise was everywhere around us, and you couldn't even hear yourself think. It was just like, this shriek, and we just got into the house, like, closed the door, fucking locked it, whatever, and I think it was one of the housemates was up, and I think there was, like, someone else staying over as well. and they were both in the sitting room, and they like saw us coming in the door, and the two of us like white as sheets, didn't know, like Joe, and like we were just trying to kind of
just generally not having a good time.
Yeah, we were just trying to come to terms with like what was just happening, what the fuck was going on out there. And like they were looking at us like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Like, and we explained the whole thing, and we're like, well, we heard nothing. There's nothing going on. Like, there's been cars passing up and down the whole evening. There's nothing going on. Like, people passing the window there. There's,
Oh my god.
And we were like, well, like we just went down the road, and there was like someone screaming at us, and
it's basically the apocalypse down there.
Yeah. But what we've, like, myself and Tony, we're not 100% sure if it was the Banshee, because, like, at the end of the day, the Banshee's a forebringer of death, and she's, like, supposed to tell you, like, someone you know or someone in your family is about to pass on. No one did, like, but, like, it's only, like, it's the only explanation that we're kind of come to. It could have been the Banshee, but we're kind of going, like, look, out of everything that sounds so ridiculously stupid, and, like, you're kind of going, like, well, I really don't know what it was, and, like, but, like, that's what we've called it. We've just called it the Banshee, like, But I do know, someone told me before years ago, I think it was one of my cousins, they said that there was a Banshee in around that area, but, like, she just roared at you for no reason. Like, there was no real, like...
Just, like, a really bad-tempered Banshee.
Yeah,
not,
like...
I mean, Banshees are bad-tempered enough already, but, like, a really bad-tempered one.
Like you when you're kind of drunk
Yeah,
sometimes.
like me sometimes. It's like, get out of my face, or I start roaring at you, like, I'm not really that bad and drunk. It's just when people annoy me.
Like the poor guy who asked us for the time.
Yeah. Get away from me, man. Yeah, I have a problem with whiskey. And, like, no, I'm kind of happy out in whiskey. It's just when someone starts annoying me or butting into something, and I'm like, and I'm passionately talking about something, and when I'm drunk, and they're like, no, get away from me. Don't want to talk
off.
to you. Yeah.
I believe they were the actual words as well. Just fuck
off. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd only asked for the time.
I can't remember what he asked for, but I do remember I was trying to get him to guess my age so I could kill him even more. And I was like, James, like, no, don't do that, don't. And I think you were there, was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. Don't be doing
Well,
that.
it might be more like coming from me, because I wasn't in a good way either. But...
I don't think any of us were. I think James was probably the only. Yeah, James doesn't drink, like, so he's probably the only one of us that was like, hello. And grand out. Yeah. Big thumbs up there from James. Yeah. But
so it's fair to say that the proportion of weird shit like normal people experience, you've experienced
enough,
a lot more weird shit
enough
than most
for
normal
about
people.
20 people, like.
yeah, like, I mean, I think that I'll end on this note, really. One of my best friends, Bradley, he's gone out with a guy called Stephen. They're engaged now. And Stephen put it to me this way, that people, like, there's, like, certain, like, we're all on some sort of a plane. That's the way he put it, like.
Yeah.
And it's like, the spirits are sort of, like, floating around, and they can see lights. And, like, basically those lights are people, like, as in the living light,
Mm-hmm.
But certain people have really bright lights, and certain people have really dull lights.
Yes.
But the spirits are more attracted to the people with really bright lights.
Yeah.
And what he reckons is that, like, that if you have a kind of a, like, I mean, I'm not trying to fucking boast myself here or anything like that, like, but it's like, like, I try and get on with everyone, and I'm trying to be happy, and, and get on in my life, like, and, like, there's no real bullshit. I mean, what you see is what you get, like, and I'm a happy enough person. I've had my problems, whatever, but, like, look, I'm quite happy in life. And I think what his way was putting it was, like, sometimes maybe the weird shit that happens is because you're just this big bright light, and they're like moths, and they're attracted to you.
Yeah.
And that's why all this weird shit is happening. And that's because he's another guy now that a lot of strange shit has happened to him.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like one of the only other people that I've met that has had so much happen to him as well, like. Mm-hmm. And that's his theory on it anyway, like, and it's kind of a theory that I'd like to roll with too, like.
Yeah, that's a very good theory.
Yeah, that, like, just certain people in life, like, they're wandering around and they don't realise how bright they shine, like, and there's just things like, but negativity, like, I'm not saying, that, like, the spirits are negative or anything like that, but, like, they're kind of like, they're like when people say go to the light,
Yeah.
that kind of thing,
make
like,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, if you kind of get what I mean, like, but, as I said before, like, a lot of this stuff people can explain it away and they can say like, you know, oh, it was your imagination. Like the thing about the whispering in my ear when I was 15, someone told me that could have been sleep paralysis. I've been told millions of times that sleep paralysis. I've had sleep paralysis before. It definitely was not sleep paralysis. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've had that like whole feeling like I've been suffocated, all that kind of stuff, you know, in my sleep.
Yeah.
I've had it twice or 3 times in my life. That was not one of those times.
Yeah.
I never, you know, and like you can try and explain it all away. You can try and say, well, it could have been this, but like unless it's happened to you, you're not going to change my mind. Like you're not. No one's going to be able to turn around and tell me, well, it could have been that. And I was like, no, I've already went down that route. I've already tried to explain that to myself. Bear in mind, like I can be a bit of a scaredy cat when shit happens. Like, and like the first thing I will do is try and rationalise it, but. It's like when it keeps happening over and over again, like you get sick of rationalising it. You're kind of going like, look, it's like what that guy said in Charleville Castle.
Yes.
Joe, do you remember what he said? It was something about like you just like you get sick of rationalising things over and over again that you just start to think like, look, what is going on? Like, you know?
Yes,
So,
there's only so much you can try and rationalise something like
before it becomes irrational.
Yeah,
and then that's it. Like,
there's the other thing as well where it's sort of like once you've I forget who said. I actually think it might be Einstein who said it. Once you eliminate all the impossible things, then whatever's left, no matter what it is
no matter how improbable.
That's the one. That's the
possible.
one.
Yeah.
So
it was Einstein, I think.
Well, there we go. I've probably quoted that before, actually.
No, I have. I was the one that showed you that quote.
Was you?
Yeah.
Damn it.
But like, it's a good quote, like, and I think
is.
he's dead right in what he said, like, you know, because. Like, you know, what was it? Your man, is it Brian Cox or something? He's saying there's no such thing as the supernatural, or he's saying there's no such thing as an afterlife, and whatever. And my whole thing is like, look, you know, we've developed these machines, we've seen these things that, like, you know, we've invented these things to measure energies, to measure the universe, to look into what's there. But like, are we only seeing what we want to see? John, that's like, you know,
it's possible.
It's completely possible.
Like, you know, we can quote Shakespeare and like there's more things in heaven and earth and all that crack, like, you know.
Yeah. Don't believe too much about Brian Cox anyway. He's more of a pop star than a scientist.
Yeah.
He was in a band.
Was he?
He was in a band. I'm sure he was in a band. I could be talking shit, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure he was in a band.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Did not know that.
The name rings a bell.
Yeah, he was either an actor or he was in a band or something like that.
He was in QI quite a bit as well.
Yeah,
like
he did something else, but I forget what it was. I'm going to have to Google it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do it on my laptop because it might explode.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Do it on your phone, man.
So, that's that.
Yeah.
That is that. Happy Halloween, folks.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys.
Try not to have any banshees going down.
Thanks for telling all your stories.
No bother. Thanks for having me, like. And,
it's
been a pleasure, like.
We had fun. It was nice to give our voice a rest.
It was.
Great crack. And, James after falling asleep there now. So.
Yeah, he's fast asleep.
Yeah, he's fucked. So there'll be no episode for about 3 weeks because we're getting married in 2 days.
Woo!
And we'll be on our honeymoon.
Hi everybody, Craig here. Now, this is where we originally planned to end the episode, but something very, very strange happened as we were wrapping up recording, and luckily we left the microphone on. So what you're about to hear for the next couple of minutes is raw, unedited audio of spooky shit happening to us. Enjoy.
Woo!
So.
What was that?
What the hell was that?
I hope that was the dog. I really hope that was the dog.
What was that? Where was that coming from? I only heard it from the...
It was the kitchen. It's moving around. Like, I'm actually getting chills now. Oh, God.
Get out.
It's the dog, I'm telling you.
It's probably the dog.
Go and check.
I ain't checking, you go check.
I'm not fucking checking.
I've seen this movie.
Bye, people. I'm not going to die. Probably the dog.
I think we might leave this in.
Yeah, we're leaving this in.
How is this... Yeah,
I'll just go check the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not something else.
What the fuck was that?
I have no idea what that was.
What was it? What did it sound like?
It just sounded like banging to me.
That's not in the kitchen.
What?
I can feel it. That's not in the kitchen.
What?
That's not in the kitchen.
Oh, here we fucking go.
Oh my god.
That's up there. I swear to God.
No, that was the door banging against that. That's fine. It was in the
That was
attic.
actually, it was upstairs, yeah. It was in the attic.
Oh my god,
Not
I've been
again.
telling you there's shit in the attic.
That's up there, man. I don't care. I just walked out there and I was just about going into the kitchen and I just heard bang up. It just came over my head. I know what I heard.
We all heard that was on mic.
Yeah, that's on the mic. Let's see if I can find
Right
it.
above us.
James says straight above us.
Straight above
Over
us?
my head here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's over his head.
No fucking way.
Okay, guys, so what you're hearing there, other than us collectively losing our mind, was a couple of noises from the attic. To give you some context about what you just heard there, recently we've been having some issues in our attic. It started a couple of months ago when we tried getting into the attic and found the ladders blocked. So we unblocked it, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later we found the ladders blocked again by something that couldn't have fallen and had to have been placed essentially over the ladders. And since then we've been hearing the odd bang and scrape coming from up there and one thing and another, and we've had people in the house swearing blind they've seen figures in the out of the corner of their eye in rooms and things like that, as well as other generally spooky things. We had a weird electrical fault not long ago, and we found things where they shouldn't be, and etc, etc. That is what you heard there. Was we heard banging coming from the attic. We went to investigate and we found the banging was kind of following us around and over our heads, where there was nothing really in the attic space from being up there. It's just sort of, it's not, I don't even think it's boarded out up there. I think it's just beams. So that's it. That's what you heard. We've also been capturing, we had a lot of audio glitches on this episode with audio drops and things. There was a lot of editing that needed to be done because bits were missing and one thing and another. It's just been very, very spooky and very, very bizarre. So take from that from what you will, and happy Halloween, everybody.